This is Out Loud and Laughing.
Hello, everyone. I am so thrilled to welcome a good friend of mine and former Google colleague, Jason Klein, to the show. After working many years at L'Oreal, you led insights at Google, I think it was called Brand Lab at the time. And now you co-founded a company called SeeMeIndex, which we're going to jump into, which champions inclusivity by using reasonable AI to measure and connect authentic brand representation to measure business outcomes. So welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Yeah, reasonable AI, responsible AI, some version of that. Yeah.
AI, hot topic. I love
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Love it. It is so nice to have you today, Jason. And any friend of Brian's is obviously a friend of mine. So welcome to the fold. I don't know if that's an apology, but it's something. Super looking forward to diving in with you today. I just have to sort of lead us in a little bit here. AI has already gained popularity among the masses. We hear it every day. So has DEI. Which has sort of become this guiding principle for many organizations who are looking to apply this equity to visibility equation. And here you are. Well, and both of them together, right, have sort of sparked numerous conversations. And I believe that they will be sparked for generations to come. And you're here sitting at the forefront. So I'm super stoked to learn all about that. I just sort of had to lean in a little bit there, but we will get to all of that. But from one mode to another, I just have to ask you, how's it going generally? How are you doing?
Yeah, I feel like that's like the first question that anyone I run into ask, but they usually ask it with a tinge of be like, how are you doing? Like, or is that because like you said, right? I'm like at the intersection of everything, that is, you know, certain people in certain positions are focused on. Um, I think what's been a really lovely surprise to this has been how much companies and people are leaning in to this because they recognize the importance of doing things responsibly um, and and the fact that you know what there are certain things that you can't just sort of sit back and let happen. Um, is that everybody? No, absolutely not. We are in a polarized world. But we talk about inclusive marketing or inclusive AI with a lot of brands. There are the ones that are a little bit more gun shy. We talk about maybe I shouldn't use the word gun shy. The little more hesitant. We just call it personalized marketing, and it's the exact same thing. Because at the end of the day, people still exist. Companies want people to buy their products, and people will buy products if they feel represented in advertising and in the process. So at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to um, help brands authentically, and the keyword is authentically connect with their consumers that they need in order to grow their businesses, and help them also identify people who maybe have been underrepresented in the past that could be a good consumer base for them, and help them differentiate themselves from their competition.
I love that. And I love what you and Asha, shout out to Asha, love her as well, your partner. Um, Obviously, I
My
personally,
business partner,
your
just for
business partner, correct.
clarity.
Correct. Also true.
Yes.
I personally have seen you take an unexpected moment in your career that was just shitty all around a few years back and really turn it into a positive. So we'll love to just rewind a little bit and just how did all this start? How did this come to be? You were sitting in a place where you were like, crap, I need to do something now with my life because things have just been turned upside down. And then you came up with this amazing concept. So can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, of course, of course. So yeah, 20 years in the corporate world. Um, uh, 13,000 people, I think, were laid off overnight with no notice or no recognition of something coming. Literally an email we got.
Mhm.
My entire team was wiped out via algorithm. Um, but I was in Paris, by the way, at the time with my husband. We
Oh,
went for the very first time.
so
Romantic trip to
romantic.
How
Paris.
romantic. Hey, took the
Yes.
words right out of my
The
mouth.
the day before we did some like Paris shopping. We are like, oh, should we splurge on coats? And um, that was
Did you save the
so
receipts?
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
no, we were like afterwards. We were like, no, we still need these coats.
Yeah.
We more than ever.
Yeah,
Um,
the gay
but
response.
um, the you know, I had been thinking about a change for a long time, and it sort of forced the idea in my brain, okay, what was the aspect of what I was doing that I really, really enjoyed? I did not want to go right back into another corporate world. Corporate, I had a few months of severance, and I was able to sort of have some time to think about this. And when I started to think about uh, what I really enjoyed, Asha was one of my colleagues at Google. We always had these questions about inclusive marketing. Like, I was doing brand labs, as you mentioned, which were these brand workshops with big brands, helping them sort of solve some of their problems. And they would ask things like, "Okay, hey, we're doing this inclusive marketing thing. We're doing this campaign. Like, is it good?" And we would be like, "I don't know." And I was like sitting at Google and like telling these people like, I don't know if your thing is good or not because we don't have a proper way to measure that." Um, and Asha and I had a really long lunch that turned into a dinner, maybe with a little bit of wine. And the We realized like if this source of truth doesn't exist, let's just create it so that data or insights is not the blocker to people doing what they know is right, but they don't have the data to support. So so what we did is we built SeeMeIndex, which uses AI to measure everything a brand puts out into the world across all sorts of different identity dimensions. So we look at age, gender expression, visible disability, sexual orientation, body size, skin tone, and we say, okay, where is it? How do you measure up versus your competitors? And by benchmarking and putting it in context of their business, we can sort of say, hey, you think you're doing this, but you're actually not doing this at the levels of your competitors, or you're the only one who's doing this. How do you make it show up even more authentically in your product and your purpose efforts? And we sort of connect the dots in organizations. Organizations have a lot of silos. And so we look at it from the consumer perspective, and it opens up these opportunities for
Mhm.
brands. And it's been really interesting to sort of be able then to tie it to the sales data and say like, okay, yeah, after you made these changes, here's 11% growth in purchase into either percent or actual sales. And we've been able to actually show that correlation through data too, that more inclusive brands uh, drive drive sales. So that's a long way of saying that there was something that we felt like didn't have a solution, and I love figuring things out. And so, by by creating the solution, then we were all of a sudden finding new ways to use it, and then work with brands, and it's been sort of an exciting journey ever since.
That sounds, that sounds really awesome. I love the work you're doing. I just have to say it's super far cry from shopping for coats in Paris.
Yeah,
And, I guess it just leads me to this question of, having come this far, having had some of these bumps on the road, which I think we all can attest to them sort of making us better or taking us to places we never would imagine ourselves, right?
yeah,
What advice would you give your younger self now, who's just starting out? And I'm interested in this on like both accords, right? Because there's a career piece to this, but then there's also a professional piece to this, the decision to embark on your own thing with a partner who's supporting you or not. So
yeah.
what was that journey like?
So let me start with the second question first.
Sure.
I I never thought of myself as an entrepreneurial person, to be honest. I always thought of myself as a corporate sort of person. And I remember telling a friend of mine after we started See Me Index, a friend of mine that I've known for 20 years, like saying that. And she said, yeah, but even when you worked at these companies, you always were just like doing your own thing. Like you never followed the path of whatever else you were supposed to be doing in the company. You had your own little team that was doing its own thing, separate from everyone else. And it really was this aha moment to me that like something that I didn't consider to be entrepreneurial. Actually, I was doing it. I was doing it in a different way than having a startup in a traditional sense. And so I do think, tying into the first question, like asking your friends, like people that have known you for a long time, what is it that you've seen me or your partner or whatever, you've seen me be most happy about? And
Mm.
the I was always happy figuring things out. Like I don't want to be bogged down with process, and I don't want to be bogged down with like what I'm supposed to be doing, but I want to figure things out and I want to solve things. And so putting that different lens on stuff, it made all of a sudden everything made perfect sense to me. Um, the other thing I would just say to my like younger self, I didn't come out until after college. Um, and when I went into the corporate world, I sort of made a very conscious effort, just like when people go to college and say, "Hey, I'm going to be like JR now." They like change the name. I was like, "No, no, I'm gay Jason now." Like
Yeah.
that's it. Um, I made the conscious effort to be out. Um, but I thought about like, okay, what is it that I can do within a corporate environment that will allow me to grow and experience things differently than I had as my, pseudo straight self in college and beyond. I mean, by the way, I mean, I don't think I was fooling that many people. I was in like theater and, all sorts of stuff. Um,
I heard a
but
I saw a meme the other day that had a picture of a gay man, and it says, "Anthony hasn't come out to his mom yet," and it said, "Even Helen Keller knew he was gay."
yeah,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, I mean, it's like, we often think we're hiding it, and and I don't think anybody's that surprised most of the time.
right.
But the other like feedback I would give to myself, and I think I actually did a pretty good job of this growing up, is like, what are the other experiences and things that you can get through the corporate world that aren't necessarily title, aren't necessarily just money. And for me, it was travel, right? It was like I never studied abroad. I like, how do I experience travel through through the corporate world? And I started out in consulting, which allowed me to like travel for work, but also then get transferred to London. I lived in London for a few years, and there I got to travel. And I have to say, like, traveling on someone else's dime is great. I
Yeah,
really highly recommend it. Um, because when you're like 20 something, you can't afford that, and all of a sudden you're like in some awesome place, and then you hop on you have a weekend on top of that or whatever, and all of a sudden you're in some cool place that you've never been to before. But yeah, so those are my two things that I would say. Entrepreneurial, like, recognize, like, redefine what success means for you within a corporate in a corporation, and then think about something through a different lens of what makes you happy.
And I
love
have
that.
to imagine, Jason, now that, you're kind of owning this business, you can make the decisions, you can move a lot quicker than what you were
Yes.
doing at Google, which
Yeah.
I still have to experience today. What has that shift been like? Being able to actually fail fast and succeed quickly.
Yes. Yes. Um, it is, ups and downs, right? And I'm not going to say that everything is perfect all the time. I would not recommend having to deal with health insurance for anyone in this
Mm,
country. Um, but actually, shout out to a company. If anyone is a solo entrepreneur, we are transitioning from the New York marketplace to, it's called Solo, which is specifically for solo entrepreneurs in like a nationwide PPO network.
hmm.
It is much cheaper than what we're gonna get. We're trying it for next year. I don't know. We've heard some good things about it from other friends of ours.
Just stay healthy, Jason.
Yes, exactly. No, that's the goal. Yeah, the goal is just stay healthy. Um, but um, I think you know w- what you said is, when there are no rules to your own company, you can make them as you go.
Yeah.
So, if I want to not work on a Wednesday, I work on a Saturday instead or whatever. You sort of have much more flexibility with your schedule. You also have to figure out, like, when is it okay to fail? Like, and when is
Hmm.
it not okay to fail?
Yep.
And when when you're figuring out, technology, especially like, you know, it's okay to have a product that is 80% there and just go to market with it and then sort of fix things as you go. Um, you know, as a, type A person, which I imagine a lot of, gay people are, the it's hard sometimes to sort of put things out there that are you feel like, oh, it's not perfect yet. But it's been a good reminder that, an 80% solution can still be 150% better than whatever they were doing before.
Yep.
And there's trade-offs, right? When there's not as many of people, you don't have as much to do. In terms or you sorry, when there's not as many people, there's more to do, but you
Yeah.
don't have as much to distribute to other people.
We're very
But it
aware
also
on this podcast.
Yeah.
yeah.
We do it all.
It's a
Yes, yes.
big
Yeah,
strap, big strap.
yes, I see the mops in the background
Yeah.
and also the tie for, for business meetings. But no, I mean, the other thing that is amazing is, like, if you actually if you think about and sorry to say this to you, Brian, because I know you're probably still doing this, but, like, the amount of time you spend in useless meetings in a week is, like,
Yes.
insane.
It's bad.
When you actually don't have that during the week, you're like, "Oh, wow, I can get a lot done in,
Mhm.
like, in an 8-hour day." So I I think, like, um, eh, the challenges are always gonna be, like, less stability when you're doing it on your own, and you have to figure out what elements of less stability you're comfortable with. Um, but it also means that you have more power to define what success looks like for you without, you know, without other people having to define it for you.
I think that's so important moving through sort of uncharted territories, which sometimes can be when you're embarking on your own path. But I am curious to know what have been some of your personal like favorite projects to date, or favorite customers. I'm not sure what you want to discuss or disclose, but like what allows See Me to stand out?
Yeah. I love that question. So when I worked on the Brand Lab team, and then after that, I worked on a team called Human Truths, where we looked at, data to sort of solve or understand consumer behavior changes. Like week to week, I would do like, I just have to get in the mindset of like, of something that I had never learned about before. Right. And so that is what drives me. It drives me is like, okay, I'm going to immerse myself in this particular, uh, challenge and then figure out a way to solve it with inclusion. So we worked with a brand recently, which is a vaccine brand, and they were trying to understand, okay, what are the challenges to vaccine uptake of different ethnicities, of different ages, of different geographies, and then how do we sort of tweak our messaging accordingly to, address medical mistrust and address some of the issues that people have with that are unique to identity. And that was a really powerful one to me. I believe in vaccines, um, uh, but I think to be able to look at it through someone else's eyes. That's I've always the thing I've always loved in all the work I do is to look where no one else is looking. So it's like when I go see a Broadway show, like everyone's like focused on the star. I'm like, what's that guy in the back doing?
Yes.
Is he new? Like, what's his deal? Or like that person's really good, And
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm always looking in a different direction. And so with the you know with the clients I work with, I'm always trying to identify where they're not looking. I did a project with a hair brand where they were trying to reach Hispanic consumers, and to break down Hispanic consumers into like the many subgroups of Hispanic identity. Um, was really fascinating to understand how each of those different countries of origin, approached hair in different ways, approached ingredients in different ways, approached, uh, you know, uh, just approached their routine in different ways. And I think, when I unlock something like that, it's really just it's exciting, it's meaningful for me. but it also helps you recognize that, like, okay, we often put people in these monoliths of like everyone's the same when they are insert marketing demographic here. But when you find those differences, that's when you really break through in a way that is, exciting and impactful.
Brian and I are always available to be reached out to. I mean, for your Latin client, for example, we could have just very easily told you, just lead in with shame.
Yeah.
That will get your client to buy anything. Trust
Yeah.
me, we know from firsthand account.
This
But
is a
no,
trauma podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Taking a little more of a personal spin too, because I feel like what all this all ladders up to representation, right?
Yeah,
And we're three gay men, and we know that we haven't been represented over the last many, many years, and when we are, sometimes through a lens of stereotype.
Yeah.
So, I feel like a lot of that feeling might have also driven you behind this company a little bit from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that and what this means to you more personally from like the LGBTQ, standpoint?
Yeah. Um, yeah, obviously it's personal. Um, so, growing up, I was always the shortest kid in class. I'm about 6 feet now, but I was 5'2" until I was like in 10th grade. And um I, as a closeted gay kid who's short and you're you're always balancing like, okay, I'll be like the funny kid or whatever. Like that's how I'm gonna like avoid whatever I need to avoid, or someone, thinking I'm gay or picking on me or whatever. And so, you know, it's a weird feeling growing up as gay when you're, if you were able to, like, you trying to be invisible in one side, but also, also do theater and, be as visible as possible. So like the balance of those two things. Um but I always, you know, looking back at it, it was like, how do you see someone who wants to be seen? And, not everyone wants to be seen. There's people
Yeah.
that are like, 100% introverts, and they get their energy from other places, and don't necessarily want the spotlight. Um, but when it comes to marketing, um, people want to know that the product has been tested on someone like them. They want to know that, you've thought about me at some point in the development process, and that you're not just using me to sell sell your crap. I mean, um, the I don't know if I don't know if I've like fully dissected what that means for how I got to where I am today, but I never liked growing up when someone felt left out. And I never liked the idea that someone was othered for any reason. Um, and to that person, I would go over and I would try to make a joke or something as some way to bring them in. That was how I brought people in. Um, but I think it's just stayed with me. It
mm,
stayed with me my whole life that, like, there's no reason to other someone. You never wanted to be othered. You never wanted to be singled out for something. So if there's a way to bring people in, or at least to signal to people that you are thinking about them, um, like, let's try to do it in as responsible way as possible. I think there's a lot of fear right now. There's a lot of fear right now that I shouldn't do anything because, um, I'm going to get it wrong, or I'm going to get the ire of people. Um, but you know, what's gonna happen with DEI, I know we mentioned that at the beginning, is it's just gonna be rebranded as something
Yeah.
else, and it's still gonna exist, um, and so in whatever new name it gets, um, just make sure that you're not ebbing and flowing with the cultural tides, that you have some consistency, around what you're doing, um, and and then, you'll ride those waves. So I don't know, that was sort of a roundabout way to get to what I wanted to say, but I I think it's all grounded in who I am.
I think it's beautifully said. And I think what you're doing
agreed.
is just so impactful for our community, for many other communities. We check many boxes. So, I love it. we wanna switch gears, we wanna have a little bit of fun now towards the end of this,
Yeah,
'cause,
let's do it.
you know,
'Cause that's
instead
good,
of
'cause I was not having any fun before.
well,
No,
we're a
0.
little boring over here at Out Loud and
Ze
Laughing. Uh, Instead of see me, we're gonna have our audience see you. You see what we did
Okay.
there? So
Yes.
we're gonna
So
play
I
a
should
game.
tasteful nudes? Is that I should know. Okay.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So we're basically gonna play a game where you pick from 2 things so we can better understand you, our audience can better understand you outside of the amazing corporate stuff that you're doing. So
Okay.
I'll go first. Would you rather win a Tony or win a game show?
Um, well, uh, I've already won several game shows.
Yes, and I wanted you to
And
talk about this a little bit.
yeah, so I have been on 4 game shows in my life. So I will say win a Tony to the answer to that just because I haven't done it and I always want to do something I haven't done.
And it's gay. So yes.
And it's gay, right? I want to be the first gay person to win a Tony. I don't think it's ever happened before.
No?
No,
Mm.
0. No, I my sources are very, very good in this, and no gays have ever won a Tony. So, um, um, that's
So good.
sarcasm to the
Yes.
Reddit thread that
Yeah.
is mad at me about this. Um, yeah, I have been on several game shows. I've always loved game shows. I've been obsessed with game shows my entire life. And so most recently my husband and I were on Lingo, which was RuPaul's game show. Um and we went on that, and so that was a fun, you know, side note to my life.
Super fun. Well, then I have to know, do you prefer the city or do you prefer the country?
Okay, so this is very interesting to me. I've always been a city person. I've always been a city person. However, that has changed in the
Yes,
last 5 years.
because 'cause
Um,
we're old,
uh, okay,
tired.
yes, yes, it's true. I'm tired all the time, literally all the time. Doesn't matter how much sleep I get. And I don't even have kids. So, um, but so in 2021 we bought a fixer upper. My husband's an architect, and we've been fixing it up for the last 5 years, and the amount of joy I get being surrounded by no neighbors and nature and picking up sticks in the yard is something that, like, I never would ever have imagined about myself. Um, I think the if you could be so lucky, having the best of both worlds is great because you still
Mhm.
get the culture of the city and then the nature of something else. But I think, like, them really going complete opposites is my preference. It's like doing one or the other from, like the most city or the most country is what I would recommend.
Very aligned. Okay, this could be alone or with someone, Jason. So do you prefer a shower or a bath?
um, I prefer showers. I because one, I don't really like to sit in my own filth. Um, but
Fair.
I also think that I get my best thinking done in the shower. I think of things in the shower that I don't think about. There's something about the shower noise. I love a hot shower. Like, I love a long shower. Yeah, it's where all my sparks of ideas happen.
I actually use the shower sound as my white noise, so I can
Oh, nice.
completely relate.
Yes.
So are you a power lunch kinda guy or a power nap kinda guy?
I thought you were gonna say a power something else. The
Or that.
Or power bottom,
I
yeah.
I am a power nap kind of guy. I think I don't believe in. I mean, the let's meet at lunch and do deals over lunch. I think that can happen anywhere at any time. The reason I would say power nap is sometimes your brain is done and it just needs a reset. And so, a 20-minute power nap and then, like, a reset, like, before you go into your REM cycle, that's like that's ideal for me.
Chef's kiss.
Yes.
Our guests take this question differently every single time. So scruff or no scruff?
Uh, um, I I mean,
He's
to
stumped.
each their own on all definitions of scruff. I would say I like a little bit of scruff, um, when it's warranted in all definitions.
Kept scruff. Got it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
duly noted. Are we doing this at a club while dancing or at a bar while chatting?
Both. I mean, it doesn't have to be either or. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's a time and place for everything. Like,
I like your agility, Jason.
Say, I
yeah.
was saying my back is killing me. I'm at
Yeah,
a bar
yeah.
sitting.
Should I be forcing myself into one or the other?
We will never put you in a box,
Yeah,
Jason.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Are you a butt guy or a chest guy?
Wait, what was the first one?
A butt guy or a chest
Oh,
guy?
okay. I thought you said Buckeye. I was like, oh no, there's a word
Oh,
I don't know. I'm like an Ohio fan. Is that Ohio?
look it up.
Okay, a Buckeye or chest guy. I love a good butt.
Yeah.
I love that new hockey show that's all about hockey butts is
Oh, I
it's
don't know this one.
heated rivalry is
Taking notes.
yes, it's a gay hockey show on
Hmm.
something called Heated Rivalry. It has excellent hockey butts in it.
We will have to check that
Yes,
out.
for research, of course.
Oh, all for research,
All
of
for
course.
research.
Yeah, stay tuned. We will be having the finalists of Tasty
Yeah,
Butt. What
Just
is
the
it
whole
called?
team. Tasty
heated,
butt.
Yeah, what's it called?
heated rivalry. It's
Yeah.
called.
Oh, heated rubber. Well, I
Yeah,
just
not tasty butt, John.
yeah, well, I have it's almost lunch for me. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I am a night owl.
Oh,
My brain doesn't start until a certain time. I mean, obviously, I can do things early, but I don't know. This something about like the silence of late at night. I can get things done that I can't get done early in the morning. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we've gotten to know you so deeply from all the things you're working on over at SeeMe, and I can probably now just consider you a friend of mine. So I'll be slipping into your DMs if that's okay, Jason.
Amazing. Yes.
Thank
Amazing.
you for all of your time today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
My pleasure too.
thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.